right. Well, let's get into our Academy 101 discussion. We're going to be talking Scum list to begin with tonight. What is the meta list for Scum? So, before we go too far, folks, we're going to play our Academy 101 intro for y'all. Welcome back to our Academy 101 segment where we talk about what the meta lists are for each of the different factions. Tonight, we're going to be looking at Scum list to kind of see, do they have something meta or not? So here we have the Duncan list, which we'll say is probably the highest. Is this the highest one, Alex, or is this like the third or fourth one? I can't remember.
It's up there, but you're seeing more of an uptick, obviously, after Duncan played it.
Yeah.
Some people might swap out CAD for like other CAD,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it's mostly been roughly if you're flying Mandalorian, you're sticking Fenrir and Dirge around them.
Fair enough. So Alex, what is this list?
So it's the one that Duncan won that Sword Champ with. He finally did it with Scum. Finally being months ago, but he has Fenrir with Fearless Predator Beskar Optics, the really aggressive Fenrir. He's got the Mandalorian with the child and Mandalorian optics. They're kind of what he is built to bring, right? You got Dirge with proton cannons, contraband, and Lone Wolf. It's only a 4-ship list, so Lone Wolf kind of makes sense. And then Cad Solus with Cutthroat, Beskar, and Mandalorian optics. I believe Duncan said he really likes the having the double mods with optics and then also doing a Talon roll and having the double focus. He said he really liked that time on target when he was playing this. And it makes sense. Like, it's a punchy list. Mandalorian, if you have more than one chip facing at you, it becomes a lot tankier and more durable than you would like. I'm not going to say he's outputting a ton of damage, but he's not dying typically. So he works pretty well in terms of objectives in this style of list. He doesn't turn, but he goes in a straight line real well.
Well, we had a little
Yeah,
bit more loadout, I don't know.
and this list here, and you're exactly right. Right, with Mandalorian, you're sending this towards at least two ships towards the center, and the key to being successful with the Mandalorian is to make sure that the lane that you pick is a straight line, and you have enough to basically go up and down that line without having to worry about doing any turns. This allows you to keep time on target. The turn that you do that K turn to turn around, you still have the Child's Force to help you set up there. You also have Mandalorian Optics to help you set up for shots there. It only has 2 defensive dice, so when you start getting to range 1 shots, if you end up taking damage there, you're free to spend the Child's Force because you know you're going to recover at least 1 force coming back. So it does make the Mandalorian a little more tankier to take down. And then the Razor Crest title allows you to hide an illicit either contraband cybernetics, which is probably going to be the more preferred one out of the other illicits. The other one you could take would be false transponder codes on there, but yeah, you do have the capability to be really effective on offense and slightly tanky on defense with the Child's and Demando's ability.
And they do have an evade on their action bar too. So if you roll like 2 blanks, you just evade and then use the ability, and then the child for 4. So even if you blank out, you're still getting 2, results. And I do like the FTC. Oh, it's the system phase. What do I have? Oh, look, it's a jam here. I'm already target locking you. Have fun. But I would assume contraband is generally what you would take. But like FTC definitely has a place.
Yeah, it solely depends on the list that you're facing. If you're facing off against like those Empire bombers, FTC would be a really great way to make sure that one of those bombers doesn't get their their barrage rockets off, or if you're facing a list that's very like target lock dependent, FTC is really really great on making sure that you're negating at least one of those proton torpedo shots against you.
If you're flying against arcs, JJ, what would you take? Would you take
Contraband,
contraband?
yeah, contraband all the way.
You wouldn't
Yeah,
take the FDC just in case, the
if Jag is in the list, Jag is going to generate locks constantly, so you're wasting the false transponder pretty easily, unless you feel confident that you're going to be able to eliminate Jag within one engagement. Then that's the only other reason I would like bring FTC against arcs.
fair enough.
So, playing this list, what is your setup in terms of obstacles and objectives? Like, is there one this does better at? Is this kind of all a
Make a lane
crapshoot?
for the Mandalorian. Bring
Um,
some big rocks so they don't follow you. I think that's about as much as you're gonna get out of that, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're probably placing if you're planning on taking the Mandalorian to go in the inside, right? Because that's where you're probably going to find the most amount of enemy ships there to take advantage of his ability. You want linear rocks, like particular, or sorry, linear objectives. So, for instance, the newer obstacles that we got there, there's one that's like kind of triangular that has a really like flat edge going around it. It's a debris cloud. That's a really good one to set up for like a lane going vertical, as well as the gas cloud. There's one that looks like a bacon. That one's also very linear. That really helps define a particular lane to set up for the Mandalorian to go up and down and have his cover when he needs it. And beyond that, if you're looking for just straight up utility, as long as you're not bringing debris clouds for the Mandalorian to not accidentally go over, you're probably best off with like gas clouds or rocks if you want.
all right. So, objective wise, like, does this do really well at assault, or is this going to be? You're not really going to pick up crates. I don't know if you pick up crates outside of maybe Mando, um, maybe Cad.
Mhm.
I don't know though. Like, I
No.
don't think you pick up crates. You just have to murder things.
Yeah, I mean, this list is definitely more PvP than is PvE.
Yeah, agreed. I think that for salvage, Mando is probably going to be your carrier. You could make an argument for Cat Solus because he could just do like a two Talon and be tokened up as for any attacks that might come in. But after that point, you definitely want that barrel or boost to make sure you're constantly at range one with Cat Solus. So probably not the best objective grabber there. But I think you're better off killing your enemy carriers with this list than like contesting the crates with this one here. So I think that salvage is probably their weakest scenario.
All right. So what defeats this list? Focusing
Yourself.
do you focus Mando down? Is that what you do? I mean,
For this one here, your best weapon here is good flying, right? You don't want to be in the Mandalorian's front arc. You don't just the Mandalorian, or if you do, you keep yourself at range 3 and fire ordnance onto him to help take him down. Fenrir's the same way. Keep yourself out of the front range 1 of Fenrau, which can be difficult, but if you set yourself up to block Fenrau, you can easily get in some shots from the side or from range 2 or 3, and that's where Fenrau dies. Being able to take advantage of that, I think, is key. For Dirge and Cat Solus, you can take your time with them. Once Dirge gets that proton cannon shot off, he's the weakest out of the 3, and has to take his time to come in and recharge those proton cannons, and that's where you can take advantage of it. Cat Solus, same thing as Fenrau. You don't engage him at range 1, you're engaging him at range. And if you have like turret arcs, like Han, for instance, you play keep away at all times with this because you don't want your front arc to face these ships at all, for them to take advantage of their abilities.
Yeah, I mean, this list doesn't have like a lot of health in it, so if you and Fang fighters can pop. So like if you don't fly them well, they're just slightly out of position. You misjudged a block, those Fang fighters, um, they can turn on you, and that's rough. That's a fair chunk of your list.
All right. Anything else about this list before we move on to the next one?
Be very patient with it. Don't YOLO joust. Just be
You
Duncan Howard easy.
figure out
Yeah.
how you can use the Mando to outmaneuver everybody. There you go. Too bad you didn't have enough room to put Babu and the child on there. At least, like that would at least be fun. Like you only need 2 more points.
Yeah.
Maybe the next point update.
In 7 years. All right. The next list we have is called Fangs and Durgy, because we're not going to call Durgy because I am obsessed with it recently, and like Georgie and Durgy, kind of same thing. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna call it there. JJ, what is this list? Tell me about it.
So we got Fenrir with Fearless Predator, Beskar, Reinforced Plating, Mando Optics, OT with Fearless Clan Training, Beskar, and Mando Optics. Then we got Lee Makai with Plasmas and R4B. Dirge with Fearless, Proton Cannons, Contraband Cybernetics, and then Boss with Expert Handling and Marksmanship here. This is very much kind of the salad archetype for Scum. The only exception, obviously, would be Old Sarek on here. Kind of functionally works like the previous list that we looked at there, though it is a lot less aggressive being in front arc. Particularly Lee Makai doesn't want to be in front arc of anybody, and Bosk is that objective grabber at 2 points. That wants to be able to just grab a contestant objective or grab a crate and then just keep out of the fight. But if he happens to get somebody in bullseye, that marksmanship helps Bosk's offense when he needs to be. But the list can definitely fly around. You're going to be more occupied with Old Tarok and Fen Rao in this list, as it's going to be the most aggressive out of the rest of the list there. It constantly wants to be in your face. It constantly wants to be at range 1, taking those shots, having the option to use Mandalorian optics to get that lock early, and then turning around, getting behind you to take shots, makes those Fang fighters very, very deadly. And then Dirge can come in from the flank and just take those range 2 or 3 proton cannon shots when he needs to. They can cover a lot more of the board than the previous list, and does have a bit of staying power, I would say.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the more popular lists, right, Alex? This was like the
Yeah.
top one, I think.
I think this was the top one. Yeah.
Yeah. This makes it sense because this has the ability to kind of be a little bit more versatile, right? You have Two Fangs and Dirge, and I know Old Tarak can die, but Old Tarak likes to steal things. It just does, and I mean, because you could do your reposition stuff with him and a target lock, and you got Mando optics, and you got clan training. If you can't steal a focus,
Well, he doesn't steal it. It's not Palop. He just makes you lose it.
oh,
Yeah,
I
just
thought he
makes it-
stole it. Oh,
No,
No.
no.
Oh, well, that was just,
But you lose all green tokens.
Yeah. So if you're double calculated or you're reinforced and focused, or you have somebody on the other end that has Gamut Key and is holding on to stuff. If you're facing Tarok, goodbye. To say goodbye to all those tokens, they're gone.
Padme and you're focused evaded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty things. Like Tarok's kind of a bully. Just a little bit.
just a little bit. So in this list, what do you do obstacle wise? You just taking big rocks? Like you got small ships, everybody's maneuvering. You take big rocks, right?
Yeah.
I would.
Because you want to try to funnel your opponents into tight spots where those Fang fighters can predict where they're going to go, and it also helps discourage like people from following people if they're coming in at a weird angle. I think you probably want to use the Snaggletooth formation more than anything for this one. Not only to take advantage of Predator, but just to force those weird angles where they can't quite pursue you. As well in those tight rock formations. I think that's where the Fang Fighters really shine there. And it also helps Lee Mackay come in from the flank to use her ability and get those plasma torpedoes off.
So question is, did you put Fen and Old T on opposite sides, or is Old T kind of versatile with where you put Dirge, right? Like
Fen, I would put on the I would say on the range 3 edge from either side, and OT I would put towards the center, and that way you can converge on whoever you're going to decide to pick on with the things.
Alex, thoughts setup wise?
Yeah, I don't know where you where you put Derek. That's a tough call. I think by Dirge might be the correct call. Just kind of have them off. Like you want to kind of keep them close together. That way you can like work and focus fire things. Lima, you can try to make a flanker just for her ability. But I also like that it's an I6, 3 I5s, and an I4 in this list. That's not to be sneezed at. They can actually initiative kill things pretty fast if they're doing it right. Yeah, just I love Tarok. I haven't flown him in a bit, and flying 2 Fang Fighters is super iffy to me. Mandaru is also 5 points, just throwing that out there.
So do you is that who you replace Ultrarock with, is Mandaru? Just say, hey, look, I got somebody that can knock you out if you don't kill me right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mandaru's nice. And then you can replace Fen Rao with another 6-pointer called Afra, and then replace Dirge with Cad, and then you just have my list. Easy.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't want to do your list tonight, so
no, it's
No,
I get why people like Fangs. I mean, Beskar really helps out with those problem crits.
Yeah, and we're not seeing Fen with what is it? Not hot shot
burnout thrusters.
The burnout thrusters as much as we were.
Yeah, I mean it's still like kind of up to debate which one you bring. Just Beskar optics seems to be on a higher uptrend, that uptick right now than the burnout thrusters.
Does it just make them that much more versatile? Is that why we kind of want that? Or
I think in this list, I don't think you'd want the burnout thrusters. I think you want to just have front load as much offense as you can. The burnout thrusters are nice, but it's for more lists that are a little bit more like tanky, so you can have Fen just do the either chase them down with the burnout thrusters or get out of here with burnout thrusters, and have the whole team not turn into it. You can still punish them for chasing Fen. I'm not sure if you could do that with this list.
All right. What counters this list? Aces, I guess, like that don't joust you. That don't joust this list. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, like Han.
I would say a good Alpha Strike that can help range control can absolutely decimate this list. If you're able to catch Fen and Ulti at range 2 to 3 with munitions, you can absolutely destroy them. And that's the key. It's just making sure that you get a good first engagement versus Fen and Ulti. It will make them a lot more gun shy and less likely to come in aggressively, knowing that they could potentially get that final shot in there.
So objectives then, are you're not picking up crates, right? Like kind of like we talked about. Maybe Lima can Lima pick up a crate.
I would say Lima and Boss.
Can.
Yeah, Lima and Boss are going to be your objective carriers there because they're not going to be repositioning really. And you could potentially do it with Dirge as well if you feel like you don't really need to be aggressive with Dirge. But yeah, you definitely have those 3 objective carriers there, and they're also high enough initiative where you can be effective in the scramble as well with snagging that objective. I mean, you got 3 I5s, an I6, and an I4. Those are pretty decent initiatives for scrambling. So yeah.
And if you're super worried about salvage, you can always switch off clan training on Tarok and put in marksmanship instead.
Yep.
But clan training really helps with like scramble. That way you can capture the objective and then clan training a focus on there.
Yeah.
So
You just can't boost. You can't claim it boost.
nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
But you can claim it and then just be like, come get me because I'm just gonna kill your tokens, you little monkey. All right, anything else about this list before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
All right. The last one we have here is Cad and Durgy, even though this one's got Dengar in it. And it really should be labeled Dengar, but I still like the Durgy. Durgy seems to kind of be a staple. I'm not sold on the false transponder codes. I know that's what people are running. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. You can't boost and target lock, damn it. Like what are you doing? You getting a bullseye? You're good at getting a bullseye. Anyway. This list has Ben Rao with clan training, a shield upgrade this time, and Beskar plating. Dengar with Notorious, Contraband, Punishing One, and Agile Gunner. Dirge with Marksmanship, Proton Cannons, and FTC. Cad Bane with Synced Laser Cannon, the title. Thermals and Kira, which we've already kind of seen a little bit. I don't know with this again. This is another 4-ship list. Like I think in Things Out, this list probably does really well. You do have two high initiative ships here. But I don't know. Do you run Notorious on Dengar? Is that just like the thing you do now because nobody wants to shoot him?
Yeah, I mean, if you shoot him, you get a strain, and he shoots you back,
And has a reroll.
and has a blank reroll. Yeah. I actually kind of like false transponder goes on Dirge in this list because you can like jam people and then shoot them with both Fenral and Dengar. So I understand people's logic. Again, this is like the most popular choices off like the third or fourth most popular Scum list out there. And like Fenral in a 4-ship list, I understand why you would take Shield. You know, you get that extra health because people are going to be shooting Fenral because they're not shooting Dengar. So your other ships are going to die, and then Dengar shows up eventually.
It's just really weird not having Fearless. That's all.
On Dengar?
No. I'm sorry. On Fedral. You don't put Fearless on Dengar. Don't be an ass.
People do that all the time.
We've had this discussion on the show more than one time. No. I'm saying on Fenral. It's just weird not seeing Fearless on Fenral. But maybe you're playing more cagey a little bit, right? Is that how you're playing this one? You're a little bit more cagey?
This one is you send Dengar just right there, and then hopefully Fenral and Dirge can clean them up afterwards. And Cad Bane shows up. Because Sync Laser Cannon Cad Bane doesn't really need to boost every turn or barrel roll to maintain that bullseye like with Proton Cannon, so he can actually be your objective getter. And like Dengar is not terribly bad at like scramble. You know, you still get 2 shots at them if they shoot you on scramble. I mean, don't do it obviously if there's more than one person shooting at you, but like objective wise, this isn't. I don't think as bad as it looks on paper. But I don't know. People bring Dengar a lot. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean it's the I6. It is. I mean, this is a very threatening Dengar.
Bonus attacks are great.
Yep, it's cheaper than Zam, right? You know, like you're not.
Agile Gunner does actually help out a lot.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're going to do like the 1 sloop or a 4K.
Yep, give you the Agile Gunner, allows you to keep time on target a lot easier than you would normally get, right? I don't know. I like Dengar, but I never have success flying him. He always dies for me every time.
Yeah, Jump Masters are. I think they're better when they're not like front line dead center. And with Dengar, you kind of want to do that. Like you want to have, like with Manaru, fine, be at range 2, range 3, whatever. You can have Gar Saxon on there, get your 4th eye anyways, do whatever. With Dengar, you kind of have to be like right up in someone's grill. And that sometimes they don't roll all those ways, you know?
At least mine doesn't. All right. Obstacles? Are you bringing small rocks then, or do
Probably
you
like medium rocks.
just go big and bad?
Yes.
Yeah, I think medium's probably the way to go. I mean, you still could place large rocks. You just got to be careful on the counter placement, because obviously you want to put Dirge in a spot where he can take full advantage of his. Sorry, not Dirge. Dengar can take full advantage of his dial, right? Because you're most likely placing him on the right side of the map, right, so that he has the access to all those blues. Um, and you don't want to set yourself up to a point where Dirge has a really hard time coming in to engage, or come in at a weird angle where they can get free shots onto him and you don't have shots back. So as long as you can mitigate that on turn zero, then you should be okay with large rocks. But other than that, yeah, probably the medium rocks is probably the way to go. Just got to make sure you leave a good lane for Dengar to turn left and keep time on target.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like you kind of want large rocks, right, to funnel people into Fenrau and Dengar into the bullseyes of Dirge, and then you're just like, but I also have an asymmetrical ship that only turns left well, so I have to bring smaller rocks so I don't get completely shut out of the side of the board.
Yeah.
Hot tip though, if you angle them 90 degrees sideways facing the right side of the board, you can turn in at any angle. That makes it much easier for a jump master. Like with the one hard or the two hard, then you can go into the center of the board instead of starting up on the right side and turning in. Gives you a little bit more options. It's not always the best, but it's not too bad.
Counters for the list. Everything.
No, I mean it's just like mostly very mobile things, like like a Han or something. You get like the problem is that Dengar's a front arc, and I mean he could be a side arc, but you're not. Don't do that. Only in case you have no other shot, right? So it's go on, JJ. You look like you're saying something.
I was going to say aces definitely take advantage of this list here, particularly against Dengar, right? Because they're going to try to bait him to go towards his right if at all possible. So that way Dengar has an awkward like dial to try to come back in whenever he needs to, or have him overcommit to the left and then not being able to turn right. That's a good way to force Dengar to be in a bad position, especially if you're dragging him through the obstacles there. And even with Notorious, Dengar can be gunned down fairly easily. He's most likely going to be spending his tokens on offense to punish as much as possible. But if you're able to set off like a mag pulse against Dengar, not only are you going to neuter his return shot, you're going to jam him. So if he has any like target locks out there on one of your friendlies, he's going to lose that most likely and have a reduced shot coming back to you. And then once he's done with his bonus shot, he's free game. He's going to be tokenless. He's going to be most likely done with his shields, and all those crits that go into Dengar is just going to hamper his ability to go in there. But the only caveat is that if you go into Dengar, make sure you kill him, because if you don't, he's going to punish you real hard afterwards. But yeah, typically anything that could reposition or double reposition is going to have an easier time taking care of this list here. Fenrau definitely is that wild card that can come in and punch you and take you out in one shot. But there are ways to stop Fenrau from coming in by getting in his way and negating that range one attack for Fenrau there. But there are ways to get around this list. I would say high initiative aces. Bomb's also really, really good to plink away at the health of these Fang fighters and Dengar, and soften them up for follow up attacks later on.
All right. That concludes our Scum meta analysis for Academy 101.